how's it going, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Supercar Tribe. So just to recap on where we are right now, we've been trying to get this car started. It wasn't starting. We decided to then do a compression test on the engine because we did actually get it running, but it wasn't running terribly well. It was sounding really rough, and you saw that in the previous video. So now we've decided to do a compression test on the engine. So what you're going to see now is us actually stripping down the engine to do that compression test. And a bit of a spoiler alert, it doesn't go particularly well. But we'll jump into the video in a second. If you haven't subscribed, then definitely do subscribe to keep up to date with the progress on this project, and like the video as well. So let's dive into the video now. Okay, so now we are working on the engine. What we're going to do is a compression test because we want to check to see what the engine condition is like. It's not starting properly. I've just put a new battery into it and it's trying to start, but it's not starting quite correctly. But we think that the engine's probably a bit flooded as well, so it could hopefully be nothing major. But before we make a decision on the bodywork, I want to make sure that the engine is okay. So let me show you the engine now. So we've just taken off the strut brace that goes across there, taking off the air intake from the throttle body. This will come off, which will give us access to the spark plugs and everything like that. The air manifold will probably have to come off as well, and then we'll be able to get access to the spark plugs, and then hopefully we'll be able to start the car, or at least do the compression test. Right, so we've just undone the 8 bolts at the top, and we've got access to the fuel rail, but now we need to open all of this stuff up and get access to the spark plugs below. So job continues. So at this point, I've got to tell you that it didn't go quite to plan. I'm showing you the bottom of the car because I was probably crying as for what happened above. We did the compression test, and cylinders 6 and cylinders 12, which is the two closest to the back of the engine, what you're seeing here right now, they gave 0 compression, which basically meant we've got some sort of catastrophic failure on the inside of the engine. We then did a scope. We stuck a camera down the bores, and essentially cylinders 6 and 12 were completely jammed and in pieces. The pistons were in pieces, the conrods were broken. It didn't look too good. The thing is, on the outside there was no telltale signs for for this sort of problem. Obviously when we started the engine before, we were running it, but it was running without cylinders 6 and 12 running, which is the reason why it sounded so rough. And here underneath, I'm just doing an inspection because I can't figure out why, with a collision at the back of the engine, at the back of the car, it's caused damage to cylinders 6 and 12. So, I was having a look to see, what is it that's caused this particular problem. There was no obvious damage underneath the engine, nothing, along the drivetrain or anything like that. So I couldn't figure out what caused the damage to the engine, given the damage being confined to the rear of the car. So you can see here that the transmission mounts there. One of them is obviously really bad. The other one probably needs to be replaced. There's some movement as well, as you can see. Probably a 3-inch or so movement in total, but all confined to the left-hand side. It didn't explain the problem that we were facing with the engine itself. So around about this time, we then decided that really the only solution now is we either there's 2 options that we have. We either press the brakes on the whole rebuild of this car, or we actually have a look and take the engine apart. Foolishly, I decided to take the engine apart, and so what we're going to do next is we're actually going to remove the engine from the car itself. Probably not the best idea at that particular point in time, but I was keen to sort of get this car back on the road It was a personal project and I wanted to see it done. So here goes. So we had a look at how we can take the engine out, and there was a few different ways that we were looking at it. Taking the engine out the top, taking the engine out the bottom. It would mean removing it from the prop shaft and all of that. And what we decided to do when we had the car on the ramp was we're actually just going to remove everything. We're going to remove the engine, the drivetrain, the gearbox and the differential all in one go. We're just going to drop it all out the bottom of the car. And take all the mechanicals out that way. It's a little bit maybe of an unusual way of doing it, but we figured that if we've got it all out, then we've got a better view of the whole of the body as well, the whole of the chassis. You know, we can make better decisions when it comes to actually repairing it. So that's what we decided to do. So what we're doing right now is we're actually just removing all of the bolts, you know, for the gearbox at the back, the differential. And then we'll be able to drop it all down and bring it all down. But as you can see already, the subframe, the rear subframe is starting to disintegrate. You know, just as we're unbolting things, bits of it are falling apart. So the original thought was we would repair the subframe, but that's just not even an option anymore. It's just lost too much of its strength. So just want to give you a view of what's going on. So already the engine has been separated from the chassis by that much. Just as they're separating it, they're just going around making sure nothing's catching. So they're doing it very slowly, which is probably a good thing to be done. And so it's coming along. Should be up within a few minutes. The engine might be special for Aston Martin, but a lot of the other parts, even the PCV, is from Ford.
Yeah.
And other bits and bobs as well, they're from Ford. That's what makes it the 6.0. Because actually the engine is actually, I don't know if you have the car here, Ford Mondeo.
Yeah, I know.
V6.
Yeah.
It's two V6 engines.
Okay. Kami na.
So there we have it, the engine is actually now separated. But we're gonna leave it as it is right now. And let's have a quick look underneath the... that is the top shaft, the gearbox, and then the differential at the back, over there. Luckily that all looks good, no damage on any of it, which is great. And we'll have a look from the other side as well. That all looks good. No damage at all. Okay, so that's really the worst bit of it. The rear subframe as well. So the subframe hasn't been removed, it's just snapped, which is not great. I was hoping to save the subframe, but that all looks pretty okay. We'll have to have a proper look and a proper measure, but that doesn't look too bad from sort of the top of the screen onwards. A little bit of damage on that side, but otherwise okay. Let's have a look around here. All of this looks pretty good. That onwards there's no damage at all. So really, the damage is kind of limited to this corner over here. And then obviously the back. But the back I am less worried about because we have a back. A little bit of damage there. Okay, so that is it for the day. We'll wrap it up and come back to this on Saturday. So there you have it, guys, a less than successful day. I was so drained by the end of it, I can't tell you, and just so disappointed. But the journey continues. I'm determined to push this on, yeah, next week we'll be diving into what is actually wrong with the engine itself. So keep an eye out for that. Subscribe and like the video, and see you next week.